Yeah, that's one way to put it. Ended up with some pretty serious trouble in the law, and I ended up on bail, and it was really difficult, and then I got thrown out of my house.
Yeah.
So 2 years earlier, 1.1 mil, boy genius, doing all the things, everything I thought I ever wanted. 2 years later, 200 grand in debt, living at home on bail, complete fuck up, lost it all. Yeah, something like that's fun. Put ADHD down it all. Yeah.
Well, yeah, welcome back to D2C Diaries. Olly isn't with us today. We're so upset with the performance he had in the first episode that we've actually replaced the co-host today. No, he can't actually make it today, sadly. But I am joined by a good friend of mine. We just kind of went through the yarn there. But Simon John Phillips, who is a good friend of mine, we'll get into a little bit more about our story soon. But I guess, Simon, just for, the quick context, give a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Yeah. I actually saw this on Instagram today, and some people do like long story short. I like to do short story long.
Yeah.
A bit too much context.
Surprise me.
So you've really set me up to fail in day one.
We'll get into the proper deep story in a bit. But
yeah, long story short, I come from New Zealand. Small town New Zealand, Palmerston North. I'm doing it. But started my first e-commerce brand when I was 19 in 2011, Fitwear. Sold half of it, got 7-figure exit when I was 23, proceeded to fuck it up, lose everything. Decided to build what would have saved me, started an agency, and then launched a global 3PL, and then most recently have been in the sort of marketing accelerator education space. And then I've come back around now, full circle, finally having built a global 3PL, a marketing accelerator, and a life mastery program to launch my own brand, Troy, which is, where it started 13 years ago, and what I'm really excited to get back to, which is just being a brand owner and not having, brand owners up my ass.
And you're like one of the people in the space that was just the first to do it at every level. You got, like you said, 13 years experience in the game within the world of digital marketing, and we'll get onto that soon. But Simon, actually, we filmed a whole documentary about his life in New Zealand. Went there last year. It's been a year work in progress. So we will definitely put the links in for that will be coming out on YouTube, which will go into a lot more depth about his story.
It's a good yarn. It's a good yarn. It was a very good example of scope creep. 6-7 minutes. It turned into a film.
Yeah, 7-minute film. Let's add 10, 20, 30 minutes on top of that, because realistically we couldn't get it any shorter. But Simon and his lovely girlfriend Ariel have come to visit London, and first day in London, Sunday morning, England, Slovakia. We thought it was going to be a breeze. Euros last 16.
Easy. I'm coming in. I'm walking into just like, great. I get to experience England winning. Comfy.
Yeah.
Comfy. We're sitting there. What is it? When does Slovakia get that first goal? 30 minutes in?
Yeah, around early doors.
I didn't start freaking out till halftime, till like second, and I'm starting to look at Loukas like, what the fuck is this,
I was
mate?
just there embarrassed. Like, he's come. This is going to be one of the biggest upsets. I was telling him about how insane our team is, although we haven't been playing well, but individual talent. And you weren't like, you didn't have the emotional connection at the start, but by the end, you were fucking in.
Well, I came in, it's a perfect example of expectations and reality, and the way you don't appreciate something once you expect it. And then I had it taken away from me. Your girlfriend Liv, she's apologizing. She's apologizing on behalf of England. Like everyone's gutted. We're starting to get edgy. And then like the 60th minute, the 70th minute, the 90th minute, we're walking around, the girls are starting to flag. They're starting to lose their
interest
and confidence, and we're saying things like, we're still in it. We're still in this. We're believing to the last minute. And then 95th minute. How many games go to the 95th minute?
Often. In terms of goals around that point. But Jude Bellingham scores a bicycle kick, probably one of the best goals for England as a team. Taught him the word limbs, which is like an English football term. Basically a historic moment for in terms of football, iconic. So glad we got to experience that. Sore heads Monday morning, but it was good.
But
shit.
not that sore.
Not that sore.
Maybe I don't know if we need to dig into there, but just
the tapering of the alcohol.
Exactly. Was fantastic. Two things. You probably heard in my voice, I actually had to cancel 2 days worth of coaching calls because I lost my voice. I've had one other experience like that when Israel Adesanya knocked out Alex Pereira in UFC 297 or something. And it's a peak life experience. I didn't get sport until I understood how deeply bored in you could be. And it's like, I feel like it really replicates probably my life in business, and I think most entrepreneurs' lives in business, the ones that feel the best are the wins that feel the best are the ones wrested from the jaws of defeat. Like you think you're going to win, and then your back's up and you're losing. There's no chance. You're still in it cognitively, but there's this part of you that's like, we're fucked. And you're like, no, we're still in it. And then it happens.
Yeah.
Like it was.
Yeah. Well, that's a great segue into, I know we want to dive into some other topics during this, but I think you just have such a fucking ridiculous story. When, I met you and in that night in Barcelona, and just hearing the story, it was like mind-boggling. The ups, the downs, everything you've been through. It could literally be a feature-length film. Let's just go back to the start. I know there's a lot to kind of pick up here, but let's kind of go back to the start and work our way through. We'll go from there. Yeah,
okay. Well, if you go back to the start, and I always sometimes like to bang the theme out at that. So as we're working through this is painting a picture of you will never outgrow your identity. Like that's the biggest thing I've learned in the last 13 years, and I'm starting to get the life and business outcomes I deserve because I'm investing in my identity. And we can get into defining what identity is, but for me, your identity is the set of subconscious beliefs, belief structures that govern your behavior ultimately. And
the personal culture pillars.
Subconscious belief structures, cognitive processes, whatever. Your lower self, the animal inside you that's just trying to stay safe, just trying to stay comfortable and stay alive. Because I don't want to go too deep here, but I've started, as I've gotten more and more into this and learnt what it looks like we evolved over hundreds of thousands of years to survive, which means comfort. And then the frontal lobe came through, like this extra piece of our brain, which gave us this higher self, this ability to plan, and they were in opposition with each other. And so for 12 years, basically, I was like, I just kept trying to bulldoze my way through with tenacity and great business and just like, I'll make this work. I'm not going to do the internal work. And it didn't fucking work. And I reckon this is like, you talk to 7, 8 and 9 figure entrepreneurs, especially, because with a bit of tenacity and a good market and a bit of grit and some smarts, you can make $1 million. Yeah. Like you can do 7 figures.
Bit of luck in there.
Bit of luck, bit of timing, bit of positioning, all that, a bit of Facebook ads. Like if in the world we live in, if you know the right stuff, you can. But then that 8 and 9 figure long-term, life-changing, generational wealth, sustainable wealth, I think that's reserved for people that either are lucky enough to get born with an identity capable of it or are willing to do that internal work. So there you go. Short story long. Where it actually started for me was in Palmerston North, bit of a bully kid, or at least just didn't quite fit in, and was like kind of a gifted child, had all of this potential, and I was like the only child and the baby of my family, and so it built up this kind of like, I don't want to say God complex because I didn't think that, but I just was like very precious. And then I went into school and I was like not cool, not precious, not like part of that crowd. And I'm like, what? And it didn't like fit in. And looking back now, that's really where my identity developed, where I wasn't sure if I was fucking awesome or fucking pathetic.
Yeah.
And then I saw this guy online called Ziz. Ziz Shavazurisan. I can't say his last name, I never can. And he was like the original Instagram bodybuilder. This is 2000, 2010 on the bodybuilding.com forums.
Like pre-YouTube or
no, this is YouTube.
He's on
this
YouTube.
is YouTube.
Vlogging.
This is and it's Facebook. It's Facebook like pre-timeline. You know, when you might not even remember.
No, yeah.
Yeah, when you had like your page and people would post on your wall.
On your wall.
Yeah. And I saw him, and he was a World of Warcraft nerd as well, because I had like 300 days played in World of Warcraft. If I couldn't like level up in real life, I'd just be cool there. He did it, and he had what I wanted, which was hot girls in his life.
Notoriety.
Sorry,
we're quoting from the film.
I know, and it's shallow, but it's like I just wanted a beautiful girlfriend. It's all I wanted. I want to be cool and respected and all of that. And this nerdy kid had done it, and I went, sweet. So I jumped on that, did a bunch of steroids, and got into bodybuilding, got jacked, got really massive, and then started that was my first mistake, is I started selling diet plans, made a bunch of money, and then was like, oh, nah, everyone's doing this. So I pivoted into apparel, fitness apparel, bought some singlets, started selling those, partnered with this huge page on Facebook. This is back in the day, bro. Like, if anyone remembers the good times, they were lit. And
how OP those Facebook pages
oh, that
were.
was so OP. Like, you just kind of turn up, roll your face across the keyboard, any body part really, maybe it doesn't matter, put your dog on there, and press a few keys, and then money would just piss out of the screen at you.
Yeah.
It was that simple. Like, 40 cent CPMs on boosts.
Yeah.
And if you threw a 10% off code in, you'd get like a 7% conversion. I had a Snapchat following with 4,000 followers, and I used to put out a 10% off code and be like, screenshot this code, and you'd get like 700 screenshots. So you get, you'd get like a 5 to 10% conversion from traffic.
Yeah.
It was insane. And so, did really well with that, and then sold half the business to some guys from the UK.
How did that come about, out of interest? Because, probably some people listening wanting to buy a business, sell a business.
Great.
How did that actually? Because I'm not actually. I know your story, but I don't remember how that ever came about.
Yeah. So for me, I've always just kind of relentlessly talked my shit. Like, I'll just get to someone, and once I feel a little bit comfortable or whatever, I'll be like, I'm doing this, and this is how it's going to look. And I would just, you used to call it selling the dream, and it was selling the dream because I could never really fulfill on the dreams. But met these guys, met Lawrence on the MISC, on the bodybuilding.com forum. He interviewed me as a bodybuilder. We kept in touch for a few years, and then later on we were just talking, and I explained to him the vision for Fitwear. Him and his business partner Richard had made stunning amounts of money in the early days of Facebook as well. Like, we're talking, they're very private people, so I won't say the numbers, but like insane numbers, big daddy numbers. And they were wanting to get into like more branded e-commerce, and so I guess it was just maintaining the relationship, being energized in that relationship, like treating that relationship with enthusiasm, and then just constantly telling people like what I'm doing, where I'm going, what the plan is. And then they were like, would you be interested in? And yeah, it was great.
7-figure payout.
Yeah, 7-figure payout. Not all for me. It was like 400K in cash, 400K as a loan to the business, and then 300K in like services and contra and foregone salaries, because they didn't need cash. It was it was 1.1 mil. I used to say 7-figure payout. I'd just dress it up, as cool as I possibly could. But it was 1.1 mil of like cash-ish equivalents for me. That was another massive mistake I made, 2015. And I took that 1.1 mil exit, and I just, every single dollar of it went into Fitwear. At the time, you could get 5% loans in New Zealand, and I've done the math. Like, if I'd just taken 50 grand, I could have bought 3 houses because I had the cash flow for it. And those houses today would be worth like 3 million, 3.4 million or something. But it was all in mentality. How could I lose? Like, everything I touch is going to turn to gold. Yeah. And then
because you hadn't, I guess you at that point hadn't really experienced your first.
I didn't know what I didn't
failure.
know. Yeah, exactly. And it was like, oh, but this business thing's pretty comfy, isn't it? I'm like,
Why is everyone not doing this?
this is easy. I'm a genius. Woo! Like it was all
Yeah.
of that, and I was hopped up, and there was a lot of a massive amount of shallow ego there, and yeah, it's like greatest strength. It's like a curse and a blessing to just fall into the leverage that Facebook ads provided at that time, because it sets you up here. This is easy.
Yeah.
And then we went and tried to scale footwear, and I started a skincare brand and never launched it, and acquired a streetwear label that was going into Culture Kings, and then got a bit fucked over there, and then kind of diluted from that, and never launched a skincare brand, and distracted myself the whole time from footwear because I was too scared to just kind of go in and do the thing.
Yeah.
And then
It's just a classic ADHD thing as well. It's like shiny metal syndrome. You're always looking for something else.
Yeah, for something else. And Alex Hormozi does a really good one on this of like uninformed optimism. It's easy at the start. It's fun at the start. You're moving through things quickly. And then, but ultimately the grind arrives at some point. And then, so I basically quit footwear, and I was telling myself it was too late. It was too late to grow a fitness apparel brand with Facebook ads in 2017.
I know, that's
like, how good's that?
Yeah.
I like to say, I don't love to say, but I like to say that I'm the poorest guy you'll ever meet that's been doing Shopify and Facebook ads since 2011. You know, like for like my capability and my work ethic, and then it just comes down to identity.
Yeah.
So you destroyed the business with procrastination, but also didn't get all the way out. And we basically rode it to zero. Engaged a whole bunch of agencies and contractors, and it was kind of like the lights were on, but no one was home. I wasn't taking responsibility to drive it. Yeah. But I didn't like sell the rest either, or just pull the cash out. And so in 2017-ish, 2017 or 18, ended up about 200 grand in debt. Sold the other half of footwear to Lawrence and his new e-commerce group, which is now like a multi-9-figure organization that I might have been able to be a part of if I wasn't such a fuck up. And they kind of bailed me out, bought half. It let me clear most of the debt. I was left with about 150, 170K, and then got into some trouble with the law. And ended up.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. Ended up with some pretty serious trouble in the law, and I ended up on bail, and it was really difficult. And then I got thrown out of my house. Yeah. So 2 years earlier, 1.1 mil, boy genius, doing all the things, everything I thought I ever wanted. 2 years later, 200 grand in debt, living at home on bail, complete fuck up, lost it all. Very, very dark time.
With this whole now world of, you know, digital, e-commerce, Web3, whatever it might be, there's so much young money, young people making obscene amounts of money that they've never known what to do with, and without, like you say, the right mindset can fuck it up overnight. Yeah. What advice, now looking back, seeing as you went through a similar journey to that, do you have for those younger people that are starting to see their first bit of cash coming through? You know, what would you have done differently there?
Diversify early, and if you've got stronger self-control than I had, maybe you don't need to do this, but at this point, a lot of my money now is in physical gold, because I can't trust myself to change the rules. And actually, this investment is good. Or, actually, this whole World War III is about to head off. What's another 50 grand on this holiday? So take some of those ill-gotten gains, set a number, 10, 20, 30%, what it is, and put it into property, term deposit, physical gold. I would do right now in today's economic climate. I've been investing in gold for the last 2 years, and it's up like 40%. Which is an insane return for gold.
That's insane.
So
you would say gold over like an index fund, S&P?
Yeah, if it's me right now, today, where we're at with the market, when you look at the S&P 500, we're getting into a massive tangent, which we could go down. But that's an entire podcast. But suffice to say, I've done the research. I've looked into this deeply. I've brought together all the macro trends, the mega trends, and I have a knack for pattern recognition. if you're investing today, you want some physical gold. Not even like gold on a sheet. You go and buy it. You get the coins, get the bars, and put them somewhere safe. It's twofold for me. One, I think it's the right investment to make right now. And you talk to a lot of wealthy, smart investors. Look at what China's doing. Look at what a lot of governments are doing, moving away from bonds and into physical gold. Physical gold was the reserve currency of the world for like 5,000 years. It's only for like the last 70, 60 years since Roosevelt, post Great Depression, they outlawed gold and were like, we're going to do this like US dollar backed thing. Fiat currency. That's 70 years old.
Yeah.
Like you get caught in the microcycles, so you think like things will always be as they've always been when you're 35 and you've only been alive for 35 years. But if you zoom out, you go, yeah, investment into gold right now is a pretty good strategic decision. So that's what I do. I'd take some money off the table, take it off the board, get it somewhere safe. So worst case, you're there. And then two, and this is just, I don't know if entrepreneurs, it'll matter if I say this to them because Sam Ovens will say it, Hamosi will say it, Buffett will say it. They'll all say it. And I think you might have to learn it. Focus. Like deep focus. You don't need a second brand. You don't need another agency. You don't need a fucking side hustle. Stop it. Just do the one thing until you're really good at it and it's validated and it's sustainable. I think it's procrastination. It's procrastination. It's fear of the hard tasks required to break through plateaus. And it's, I also use this analogy, it's like you want to have your dessert before your dinner. Often before your broccoli and your potatoes. Entrepreneurs, we love new stuff. We love exciting stuff. It's easier at the start. It goes faster. So instead of like just eat the meal and the broccoli and the potatoes and then get to dessert, starting the new business that you really want to start, you don't deserve it yet. You haven't earned it yet. That's dessert. So smash your dinner, and then as a reward, when you've earned the right to, because you've got a stable, sustainable business, then start your new thing. Use it as a motivating force to that I'll get that reward. I'll be able to start that new thing once I finish this. Yeah. Once every SOP in my existing business is done.
Yeah, it's like they say, your first business, that's there to settle, to make your money. Second business can be the mission business.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think, with us, it's like with my agency, before I started anything else, I was like grinding at one thing for 4 or 5 years before we started introducing other things into the mix.
And look how that worked out for you. And then you did a deal, did an awesome exit deal, got some cash off the table, you're there, and then you've got a little bit of extra space and time and resource and enterprise value and a team to do things.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not about not doing that other thing, but doing it at the right time. And I think that Ikigai is so key. I think that's why Ikigai is such an important thing that people should lean into within business. So Ikigai is basically like the intersection between and I'm going to butcher this probably.
Is this the Japanese?
Japanese. So it's the intersection between what the market wants, what you enjoy doing, and what people need and what you're good at. So and then it's just in the middle there. So like finding that Ikigai is really, really important, because when you hit that first hurdle, when you come across the first challenge, you're going to give up faster than the person that really loves it and enjoys that thing. And
but yeah, suffice to say, diversification, cash away, rainy day fund, quality investment, look at the market too, focus on that one thing. And that's not to say stay in a shitty opportunity vehicle, bashing your head against a wall if it's not worth it. And that's where I'd say the final thing is get the mentor as early as you possibly can. Because what the mentor is able to do is go, no, you have done the 3 or 4 years. This opportunity vehicle doesn't make sense in the context of X, Y, Z. Here's what's changed. A pivot does make sense. Shutting this down and doing a new thing does make sense. And it's very hard, I think, for business owners in their first 3, 5, 8 years to remove the emotionality lens and accurately decide, am I trying to do this new thing because I just want to and it's going to feel better, or am I doing it because it's the right thing commercially for me to create shareholder value and take home cash for me and my family?
Yeah.
So yeah, diversify your ill-gotten gains or your positively gotten gains. Focus and get a mentor.
Yeah. Yeah. Completely agree.
That's it.
Yeah. So yeah, fitwear happens.
Fitwear happens.
That runs to zero. You sell it off. What comes next?
What comes next? So through that, I made a bunch of cash through that journey, right? Like, and I got that exit, and then the first thing I did was I need to be a real business. So I got like this fancy accountant, Ernst & Young, and a contract designer and a web development agency and a marketing agency. And I got all these people in, but I wasn't engaged. And so when I came out of that business, I was like, fuck. So like, you know, you made money while I lost everything. I didn't get it. It didn't make sense. And you know this as a quality agency operator. Most agencies are not like ours. They don't have the integrity and the depth and the frankness and the willingness to grind it out and make it work. And so I want to build what would have saved me, which I thought at the time was like an ethical agency. So I started SJP Media, and I also had to pay my parents back. So I couldn't bankrupt out of it.
How much did you owe them?
It was like 100 and specifically to them, it was 120 grand. And then after the exit deal, that was kind of my debt. It was kind of 120 grand, but I had 100K in credit card debts, but then I had assets as well, which evened it out. And then I got into crypto back in the day, bought Bitcoin for the first time at 2,500. And yeah, at one point I had like 17, 18 Bitcoin. And then I went all into an altcoin, got up to like 300 grand. And my plan was how much do I want to make? Sounds like you can't. No, I got up to 250 grand and I wanted 300 grand. Once I get to 300K, I was going to sell it all and I was going to bin the agent, pay my parents back, and then I was going to go on the Europe trip that me and Ariel are doing now. I was coming on this fucking Europe trip like 8 years ago, solo, and just to get away from it all. And yeah, the stack in this altcoin, what was it? I forget the name, but it doesn't matter.
Some of them are wild.
It wasn't Cum Rocket.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then got to about 250 and then it started to crash and I watched it crash all the way to zero. So 50K, I crash advanced my credit cards to get 50K, put it in, got it up, and then lost it all. So that was funny. And that's where I ended overall at like 170K negative after that experience. So yeah, built the agency to pay them back, and I just went all in on that. Like two years, 14 months, I didn't have sex. I went to one wedding in 2 years, like in terms of like social events or whatever. Just did nothing. Just deleted life. And then we got a big break with one of our foundational clients, Metal Bird. They do like these fucking cool like Metal Bird ornaments. We did like 55 million in 18 months on a revenue share. So we were pulling in like big fucking dollars, and it was crazy numbers. It was
was all from Metal Bird.
Yeah.
Fucking
that was
hell.
the big growth story that fueled our company initially. They won Exporter of the Year, and that client actually came from my business partner Brad. So through the SJP Media journey a little bit, if I go back slightly from that, I knew coming out of fitwear that I needed to get sober and get a mentor. That's the other thing. Number 4, get sober. Like you can't, if you're not really good at business. I looked at people, he's doing it, they're partying, work hard, play hard. My mindset and my physiology and my mental health was too fragile to manage that. So I was trying to keep up with the Joneses, but I couldn't hack it. I wasn't turning up on Monday.
Especially when you're neurodivergent as well. Like it's, alcohol is probably one of the worst things to really, you're already struggling with a depleted amount of
100%.
dopamine. All that's going to do is continue to drive the mood swings, drive the extreme ups, the extreme downs, and make you more sporadic and impulsive than you would have been anyway.
And it just is a hangover. It's this dark cloud of depression. So that's another piece of advice I have. It's like, if you're drinking and doing drugs at all and you're not happy with your business outcomes, how about you just stop that for 3 months and see what happens? See if you just see if you're 40% more effective and willing to do the hard things required to generate scale instead of distracting yourself with busy work. I'd still go to Monday and do the emails, but you believe I wasn't doing the difficult pitch to that client I really needed. And that's the insidious part, I think, about the drugs and the alcohol and the reduced mindset. You're not going to work, so you don't realize you're not doing nothing. You're just doing low value work because it's comfy and it's safe.
I also think when you're in those phases, you're so much more uninspired and just less belief. And I think belief is such a massive driver.
It's fuel.
It is the fuel. I always find if I'm hungover or, had heavily drunk on the weekend on Tuesday, Wednesday, I just really lack in that real fire.
100%. Can we go into that for a second? Because belief is the fuel. That game, the 95th minute, if he didn't believe, if you don't keep the spirits up and every second think you're able to win, then you don't take the actions. And you look at it and especially in today's world, especially if you're an internet entrepreneur, it is not opportunity. I don't care that Facebook ads are hard now. There's generative AI, there's scale, there's opportunity everywhere. And so all you need to do is throw a bit of belief in the tank and the car will move. It's so...
How do you create that?
I create belief with difficult physical pursuits. That's been the most A to B method for me. So I've had 3 kickboxing fights now, amateur kickboxing fights. I've run an ultra marathon and I'm running more. I do hard 45-minute assault bike sessions with no music, no podcast, no nothing, and it's horrible. And every moment I'm looking at the clock and it's another 20 seconds. But I think you get endorphins, I think you get clarity, and there's this, I just believe in myself more when I've done that.
Yeah.
And this other one that everyone can do is sleep. I believe in myself 100 times less when I haven't slept.
Yeah.
If I've slept and done hard physical exercise, it's like I don't want to say a couple of nose beers, but it's honestly, sorry. But it's that is belief. It's power, it's strength. And the ideas I had last night when I was excited and going, etc., they're still there. I can have the exact same idea in state A pre 20K run on a 3-hour sleep to 3 days later. Exact idea. If the market's worse off, whatever. But if I've had my 20K run and I've had a great night's sleep the night before, I'm approaching it.
There's this phrase I love called delusional optimism in business. And that kind of falls into the belief category, because I feel like when you first start a business, you really don't know what you're getting into. Yeah. And if you did, you probably wouldn't have the belief
you probably
before getting into it. So I love that idea of being, having, and again, it's within reason, right? But I think when you're getting started, almost having that ignorance in a way is extremely valuable to help really drive that belief.
100%, bro. And that's the thing that I always struggle with. I didn't have a methodical process and set of strategies that I could use to get myself back to that place where I believe in what I know is right. Because there's a big difference between knowing something and believing something. They happen at the same time, but they're two different things and they feel different. And you can know it and not believe it and you're fucked.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing with internet entrepreneurs. You've got to know it and then you've got to believe it so that your actions follow up.
Yeah.
And if I think about my career and, so as I said, I met Brad. He was my mentor. He had a large logistics business. I gave him half my agency. I said, look, I'll give you half if you help me build it. He said yes. And then we built the agency. We did the Metal Bird story. We grew. We peaked at 85 team members. We co-founded a global 3PL, obviously, which was mostly him. And I just had the ideas and helped out a bit and got some leads at the start. And It was amazing. I blasted through a bunch there. But when I think about e-commerce, and I think about leverage, because my probably talent is being able to identify like what's coming next and where to be, so that even if you do an okay job, because I've never been that consistent operationally, even if you do an okay job, you're making money.
Yeah.
Right. And for most of my career, all the way up until like 2021, 2022, and it kind of carried a bit through COVID. But as COVID fell off, that was a boon for e-commerce. That was leverage. And then we got the real state of the meta ad accounts, where there's still amazing efficiency. It beats TV and radio and stuff from my perspective. But you don't have that leverage anymore. If you're an agency owner selling to DTC brands, or you're a DTC brand, your business used to come like with a pre-bolt-on, like with an aftermarket added leverage. Don't worry, your CPA is 70% lower than it should be. Don't make that much creative. Don't have a super optimized funnel for each of your customer avatars. Don't worry about email backend. You can kind of just loll your way through it.
Yeah,
you could just loll your way through it. And my view is, as the leverage is leaked out of Meta, that's what I'm doing. And I think agency owners and DTC brand owners should be asking is like, well, how do I replace that leverage that Facebook used to give me? Because it's not coming back. There's not going to be another Meta all of a sudden. Meta's still the best platform by far. We know that. You only have to look at the spend numbers. We all know it. So how do I add the leverage? And for me, through that journey, it's community driven e-commerce. It's like, how can we bake in digital community courses, coaching, additional value adds to improve the unit economics, so that despite the CPMs and the lower conversion that we get out of Meta, we can still hit our metrics, we can still scale.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. There's so much value there, I think. And I see it being done wrong a lot as well, in terms of, we'll just create a Discord and, we'll give you some discount codes in the Discord. What I love that you're saying is it's creating the private community, but layering value on top of that. And we were speaking earlier and you gave the example of a supplement product. But like you said, let's say it's a magnesium product or something like that. It's supposed to help with sleep. But just going to sleep an hour earlier is going to be it's going to be more effective than taking that supplement. So then how do you layer in elements of a routine to better your life from the perspective of, lifestyle and to really allow that product to work as well as it can?
Exactly. My mentor, Brad, he say to me, sell the sizzle, not the bacon. Give them sell them what they want, give them what they need. And I articulate it pretty simply as, and especially, right? I'll articulate it simply first, and then I'll do my short story long thing. I always do that. Build a digital community that fulfills the promise your physical product DTC brand makes. A supplement brand, we're all making outrageous promises. You've seen the hooks, the angles. We all know as DTC brand owners that we're pumping up to some degree the value our product has, and we're promising claims. And the consumer loves it because they want to take a pill and get the outcome. That's what they want. Okay, cool, no stress. So if I can sell you the supplement, but every supplement brand owner knows as well as I do that if I get your customer to sleep half an hour more per night, I will get better health outcomes from that customer than from your supplement.
Yeah.
Cool. So what if they have your supplement and then you've made a promise, sleep better, better relationships, better in business. And then you built a back-end community which fulfilled on that promise with perhaps a decentralized network of coaches and some courses and a community of other people getting the results. What about just a community of people posting like, I actually took my thing today, 30-day challenge. Most people buy your products and you go, and you spend 3 days doing a hyper fancy, complex email flow to like drive return customer rate. And you do a survey, 60% of our customers don't finish the thing, so they don't buy more.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
What if we put them in a group together and did that? And I'm a big fan of that quote, make your free stuff better than their paid stuff. And so generally as humans and business owners, we'll only pick the fruit we're forced to pick. So what I mean by that is like low-hanging fruit and, oh gosh, meta's hard now, so we have to do this. We better invest in our creative. And we just slowly, but the market moves based on what's working. And so that's why I think if you go and look at all the e-commerce brands, even the really, really good ones, like their communities are a Facebook group with a couple of giveaways, a discount code, and the odd win post.
Yeah.
It's like, it's hardly that fucking special.
Yeah.
What if you just go out there and build a community and a set of courses based on all that IP you've probably got? If you're really good at physical products, you've probably got a bunch of IP that could support that same user. Build it into a course community coaching product that's worth 10 grand a year and then give it away.
Yeah.
And or hey, you buy my physical product, you immediately go into my free group where you get a little bit of coaching and this course and that thing and some accountability and some challenges, and it's pretty cool. And you can run these things. We run ours with an amazing Nicole, Filipino community manager. She's personable, she's beautiful, she's kind, she's friendly. She's missed like 2 coaching calls in like 2 years. So baked in. And if I told you what it cost us for her to run our community, you wouldn't believe me if I told you. And so you can actually spin these things up relatively quickly, relatively easily. And all of a sudden your unit economics goes up and
LTV.
And LTV.
That's the big one, I think.
Exactly, that's the big one. And your margin, because now potentially like you join the free community just if you buy the product, but those ones that really want to go further, maybe you've got a digital product upsell, which is $1,000 a month or whatever. Yeah. That's 100% margin.
It must be so good as well, just for getting really, really great customer surveys completed by your most loyal customers.
Yep, you're deeper, you're closer, you're more connected to them. Yeah. And it's a brilliant funnel. It's a brilliant funnel to go. Maybe another way to cut that is like, I'm actually going to build a free community so good they don't have to buy my product. I'm going to drive all my leads into that. You're doing email, you're doing email capture campaigns. There's a lot of guys right now with the school platform that are generating community signups for cheaper than they could generate email signups.
Yeah.
Would you rather someone have in your community where you're nurturing them and literally selling them every day on the totality of value that your brand can offer, or would you rather have them on an email list?
Yeah.
And I think that's another piece. It's because timing's everything in business. And I remember being in 2011, and I didn't know any of this at the time. I only know this with hindsight, with 13 years experience, watching this curve play out. A new technology emerged, Facebook ads. A new platform was developed that made e-commerce really easy, Shopify. And a mega trend was running through society. Everyone was starting to go to the gym. Health and fitness was blowing up. And I did a fitness apparel brand on Shopify with Facebook ads. Millions, right? Today, my view is that a new technology's emerged, generative AI, and you have a new platform which has popped in, which makes community really easy. School, Sam Ovens, Hamosi. Yeah. They're like the best.
The goats.
They're like the goats of they're the next fucking
Hamosi,
Zuckerberg.
what he did, like just coming in there and like the growth since he came in, just he just lives the brand.
And he's so good, bro. He's so good. I identify with him so much because he had a similar story. He had 2 multi-million-dollar failures in a row, lost it all, and then just kept going. He got there way faster than me, but I'll get there eventually. And so you go, school makes digital community easy. You've got an emerging technology which allows you to articulate IP really quickly into programs. That's the emerging tech. And then you've got a societal mega trend where people are starved of connection. They're all at home. They're not in communities. Bada bing, bada boom. And so I think the next 10 years of e-commerce is dominated by Shopify plus school, physical product D2C front end, digital community back end. And if we do that, if we have the Shopify school combo, my unit economics and ability to deliver life outcomes for my customer will outcompete yours, because there's so much more leverage in my ability if I get into someone and change them from the inside out than just give them the supplement.
Yeah.
But if you do both,
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, we're both doing this in
Both
some form.
doing
I
it.
mean, you're
Yeah.
deeper than I am right now. You've built, the ridiculous. Simon yesterday, today, running me through just some crazy fucking shit. You know, the amount of Excel tabs and
Too many tabs.
scrolls, and it's just crazy layered. But we can kind of get into that. But one thing that I did want to touch on is like, you know, because it's easy saying, you've got to build a community, you've got to do this. How, as we talk about attention as a currency, what do you feel like is the best way to drive people into that private community? Obviously, the obvious answer is by demonstrating so much value that it's too hard to say no.
I'm a D2C brand. I've heard that rant. Sorry to rant at you and probably cover topic spaces. And you're going, that actually makes sense. I want to do it. Where do I start? Then I think someone integral to the business, because great communities have a leader. You'll see that. Great cults have a leader, great churches have a leader. Generally, it comes to there's a singular driving force, at least at the start, before that decentralizes into the community adding value to each other, etc. So I think it needs to be someone deep in the company, the founder, the co-founder, the CEO, someone, maybe an amazing customer who's like out the gate loyal and been there for 10 years, something like that. You want to be very close, I think, with the person that leads this community. And they need to have massive domain expertise. They need to be the right person to help your customer go from A to B. And then you literally go on to school, you use my school affiliate link, like that's the most important part. Then you set up a office hours, 1 hour a week, and you get in there and you go out to your best customers first, because I think a critical piece is you want to cement the culture early of who your customer is and how they operate and how they post. Are they whingy little bitches, or do they like post? You know, in our community in Troy, we do this thing, Dear Diary. And a lot of the posts I make are quite negative, but it's all about how I'm externalizing my toxic, lower self negative thoughts and then overcoming them to be who I know I can be. And then I'll give myself some props.
Yeah, the layer of empowerment.
Yeah, exactly. And so you start by taking that person who's close to the company, who has domain expertise, can get the customer from A to B, and they start doing 1 hour a week coaching call in that community. And then you bring in friends, staff, top customers. You get like 20, 30, 40 people in there, and you just beta test it.
Yeah.
It costs you $100 a month to school. Use my affiliate link, and then it's fucking. I need that $40. I need that $40, bro. Like this holiday is rinsing me.
I beg to differ. Not in London, it fucking
Not in London.
You won a £200 bet off me on Sunday.
Yeah, living accommodation
in my flat
free.
for free.
Yeah, I'm loving it. Thank you for that, by the way. But
No, I'm joking.
for $100 and an hour a week, you can be live, adding value to your best customers, cementing a culture, figuring it out, and then you can run some ads. You can do an email. You can do whatever you want to do, and you can bring in another coach and another coach. And those coaching calls use generative AI to turn everything that's said into a course. So this can literally, in 4 hours, you go from no community to epic community. And a lot of that's down to how effective the school platform is. But that's the next step. You just fucking sign up using my affiliate link, do an hour a week, bring some people that you know, trust, and love in there, add value to them. And then after 6 months, if it's not a right fit, it'll fall over or fizzle out. But if you invest in it, I guarantee that is going to add serious weight to your overall D2C offer.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, 100%. I think, and again, it's like, it's what we were talking about earlier. It's about building that momentum slowly. You're not going to suddenly have thousands of people within that community on day one, and that's fine. You know, it's the same with an email list. You know,
2 years.
You don't have that same real agitation of, okay, you know, within a year of your business starting, your brand starting, shit, why are my newsletter signups not here? You know, it's when it comes to a community, you look at it slightly differently. So
you build it over time. It doesn't need to deliver you anything. And I'll say this as well. A lot of brands come and they, how am I going to launch? What am I going to do? Etc. I'm like, I love what you did with your latest brand. You didn't build the product first. You built a media company so you could get organic reach. Because why? If you launch an apparel brand today, then you're going to have to run it at a 1.6 MER and it's going to suck.
Yeah.
So you built organic clout. And then I say another thing for your product. You don't necessarily need to start with the physical product. Start with the community.
Yeah.
Build a media business with organic reach or a community. But people want to do what they still want to do because that's the story that's been told for the last decade. Go on Shopify, get your product, do Facebook ads, make heaps of money. You're too late to the party if you're getting in now. Like, you can still do it, and sure, it works. I'm not saying that's a bad option. I'm just saying I think a superior option is build the media, organic media or community first, and then layer in product, physical product with your learnings.
Exactly. And that's, like you say, that's exactly what we're doing. And I think, again, the reason that community grew so quickly is because we weren't selling a product.
Exactly.
No one wants to be sold to at the end
Not
of the
today.
day. They turn it off. But when you've built up that relationship, when you've given endless value, education, you've pulled on heartstrings, you've created that attention, then you layer in that product. And the community's there and set.
Ready to go.
And it's about value alignment as well when you're building that organic presence and sticking to very specific themes. So it's got to be relevant. So like you say, if you're starting a fitness apparel brand, or building a community first around educating people on getting healthier, getting fitter, and knowing the niche. All right, well, we're finishing up here shortly.
We're over time. I mean, we could do another couple of hours.
Yeah, we could do at least another 3.
Should we revolt, lock the doors, and just we're not fucking leaving?
But I did just want to end on just one final question. You've kind of touched on it regarding kind of from the perspective of mindset, but there's a lot of early D2C founders that are listening to this podcast. What is, from going through that on brand side, agency side, community side, what's the best advice? 3PL side.
All the sides.
Fucking show off. What is the best advice you have
money out of it really for myself? Whoopsies.
What is the best advice you have for people getting started today or going from A to B?
Cool. It is an extremely different market to the last 10 years. The case studies, the really great case studies, look at when they came up and where they started, and don't try and replicate that success today. So that's the first one. Is you're in a different time. You're in a different adoption curve. We're normalized. If you go and have a look at an adoption curve, you got early adopters through to like early majority, late majority. E-commerce is in a late majority stage. So you need to ask yourself, I'm going to do this e-commerce brand. What leverage am I bringing to the table? How am I solving this problem with leverage because I'm a startup? I maybe have low experience. I've probably got low capital. My product's probably not optimized. What am I doing that's really intelligent that other brands that launched in the last year, the last 2 years, the last 18 months, what did those success stories do to win? And then base it on that. Because I see so many founders come through my strategy calls, my free community, all of that, and they're drunk on the Facebook ads plus Shopify success story. You've kind of missed the boat. Not everyone's missed the boat, and so this advice isn't for them. Because if you know. And usually it's the experienced guys that can still make that work at an epic level. But if this advice is for you and you're interested in the answer to that question, then my view is get a mentor and ask them, like, what do you reckon? Do you reckon the Facebook ad Shopify just launch and go thing is right here? Or should we do some organic? Should we build a community to validate? How can you invest the lowest amount of cash into your business to validate whether it's going to work?
Do you know how the best way to do that is?
How?
And we've spoken a bit about this already, but and I forgot who it was. Someone I saw online talking about this recently, but it's just so true. You know, creating a wait list, trying to drive as much interest to that wait list first to validate an idea, to see how much hype there is that can be built, whether there is real interest within that. And it's almost like the perfect way to stress test an idea ahead of actually launching something
100%.
by building a wait list before you actually have to do anything.
Build a wait list. Make the landing page for your wait list where they put in the email and they join a community.
Yeah.
Make them wait in the community. Why not? Like,
Yeah,
it's a
that's the
live,
one.
organic, living wait list.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
Well, Simon, thank you so much for joining us today. Shame we only had an hour, but I'm sure we will be doing this again. Hopefully,
Should we do
can
it
get
after hours in the Uber home?
Yeah, could do that. We'll get Olly back in next time as well, and we can just spitball loads of things to do with D2C and e-commerce. But yeah, thank you so much for coming today. Where can people find you if we will obviously put your links, but where can people find you?
I'm on Instagram, Simon John Phillips on there, on YouTube as well. I'm trying to do more stuff. And mostly I've been still too scared to do proper business content. So I've been doing gardening and kickboxing and running content. I'm like bait and switching myself. So yeah, I've got a lot of gardening content on my YouTube, you know, big gardener. Cool.
Such a layered guy. Anyway, yeah, if you enjoyed this episode, obviously you can find us on Spotify and YouTube at D2C Diaries. Please give it a like, share it with a friend. If you've got any questions, let us know. And if not, we'll see you in the next episode.